Hi, Jane here. Thanks for joining me again this week. You know, when you sit down and start to write your book, you have no idea what kind of legacy that book might leave. You don't have a clue. You just write because you want to. It's in you and you have to do it. But you don't think in terms, you don't have any knowledge of where it's going to go for real. You hope, you know, you can ask questions like, how popular is it going to be? Is anybody going to read it at all? All those insecure questions that seem so prevalent today. Will it have any impact on the world around you? All of those, none of those questions you have the answer to. All of them are up in the air. And the same was true when Harold Bell Wright wrote his book, The Shepherd of the Hills. Now, I did a post on this several weeks back. I'll put a link to it down below for the video, and if you check out my post this week, there's a link in there too. So this is kind of an update on that, but it's also posing a question to you. I don't believe that Harold Bell Wright struggled with questions and insecurities like we might today. I mean, not everyone does, but some do. I think rather he was, his writings were the result of things that were going on inside him, of a personal nature. That his writing was all about within him. And it's one of the deepest rewards that I have seen over time come to authors when they have the courage to write for real. They face those inside issues, questions, and they get answers. And so my question for you today, yes, I'm going to give you an update on what's going on, but my question to you alongside this look at a legacy is, what's driving your writing? What's stopping your writing? What's driving you? Now, in my last post, just a little recap for you. I was talking about Harold Bell Wright. He wrote The Shepherd of the Hills. It was published, I believe, in 1907, and it became the first real tourist attraction, if you will, the pull for people to come into the Missouri Ozarks, into the Branson area. He had been here, met the people, fell in love with the people he met. He was here for health reasons, and he was a minister, and he lived here for long enough to where he fell in love with the people, and the story rose out of that and the surrounding countryside. And my other post tells a lot about that and gives you some outside links too. So I won't belabor that. But we left it on somewhat of a cliffhanger last time because the property where the Shepherd of the Hills homestead is still here. And it's been an attraction. They did an outdoor theater play of the book. And you know, it made it through 57 seasons of that, and they tried to start the 58th season this year, and that's when the property had to go up for sale. And so it's locals and visitors alike who love the Shepherd of the Hills and know what it is and have lived in the book. And I mean, you know, everyone's kind of been on the edge of their seats wondering what's going to happen to it. You know, what's the new buyer going to do? And it's been wrapped in a good bit of mystery. And just this past week, the end of the week, the new owner stepped forward and did a little kind of press conference and let everyone in on what was going on, sort of, the most of it. They're going to surprise us with new additions next year, but the excellent news, you know, before I tell you that, you know, when we were sitting around all speculating about it, it's like we heard rumors. You hear things, you know, it's a small town, and small towns, everybody knows everything. But, there were rumors that, well, someone was buying it and they were going to turn it into a condo community. Some said that oh, nobody will ever do anything with it. It'll just turn into another ghost in the Branson entertainment history. It'll just sit there and go back to nature. And then there was word that they were going to remove some of the landmark. There's a log cabin there. They were going to remove that. The local college wanted to salvage that if nobody else was going to do something with it, because they are big into preserving history. And I appreciate that. And I thought, well, at least they'll save old Matt's cabin. There's all these different possibilities. And then the last thing that you're hoping for is that someone will stand up and just preserve the place. Do whatever renovation work it needs. And if you have to add something to it to draw in new people, so be it. But, I was personally, and lots of people were just hoping and praying that whoever this new owner was, that they would recognize the value of it for what it is and restore it and maintain it. And so, everyone was all excited about the news conference last Thursday. And the good news is that the legacy goes on. Harold Bell Wright and the Shepherd of the Hills, they're still up and running, and the new owners are restoring the property. They have great plans. It sounds like they're adding some things that are more along the lines of today's recreational things in the area, which will be fun. But they're restoring actually the Inspiration Tower. They are putting in some new trails. There's a big auto cruise night that they do, and it draws like 100,000 people. I have not been to it, but it's just a big deal for the area. It's one of the largest attractions here. They're doing that. They've come in. My prayers were answered, and lots of other people's too. They're coming in and they're restoring it. One of the owner's family, back through his grandfather, were associated with the property from the time that it started. The show started the play started in 1960, and his grandfather was part of it. His father was part of it. He's been part of it. And so they've come in with fresh ideas, and off we go. So the big news, that's big news right there. It's coming back. The excellent news that was just the cherry on the top is that this Friday, as I'm doing this video, it's Thursday. That means tomorrow night, the play is coming back alive in its 58th season. So it'll be running through September, and after that they're going to make some modifications. That doesn't mean they're taking away anything. It sounds like they're just renovating seating and some of the outdoor theater assets there. So, good news. What does all that have to do with you writing a book? It has everything to do with you writing a book. Harold Bell Wright did not sit down to write a play that would be used in the next century so that he could be famous. He wasn't after that. He wrote a story based on his passion, based on his experience, what he learned from studying these people and living among them. He's credited for actually capturing the language and the way of life of the Ozark people at that time. And that's gone now. If it weren't for the Shepherd of the Hills book, we would have no real strong asset there, no recollection to pull from to find out what life was like. He's I think personally he's kind of like the Mark Twain of his age, in that he wrote so descriptively and so well and drew you into the story, and he painted the picture incredibly well of what he was seeing, what he was hearing, what he was experiencing. And when you read the book, it drops you into that time and that place that is no more except right there in that book. That to me is one of the signs of a really good book like that. And so I know that some of you, probably all of you, but at least some of you that are watching this video, that are reading my blog, you have a book within you. There's all kinds of writing to do. Writing a blog is different than writing a book or an article. Writing has to adapt itself to whatever medium it's going into. But I have much experience with books, and for you to not write your story in some form is just I just am just really wanting you to come on and get your story out there. You never know where it's going to go. You don't know what it's going to do. But the only thing standing between you and your story in print, on the blog, in magazine articles, there's so many different venues to put your material in today. It's a blessing. The only thing standing between you and that is a decision. Doesn't cost you a penny. It's a decision. You could make it right this minute. You could hit pause on this video and make the decision and then watch the end. You could watch to the end of the video and make it before you get up. It's just that decision that stands between you and getting your story out there. And for some of you, I know that writing your book is a dream, and you have all the excuses that, well, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or what about this or that. They're all excuses. Find my blog post about that. I am so willing to encourage people. I'm really wanting, particularly new writers, to stand up and come on, jump in, get your feet wet. I hope this post has said something to you. I'm just thrilled to share it with you. I'm happy over the results of what's happening on this property here locally. If you ever have vacation time and don't have plans made, I highly recommend Branson, Missouri, and go. If you make it here at all, don't leave here without going to see the Shepherd of the Hills, the homestead, and the play, and anything else you can work in. There's so much to do here, but we have Harold Bell Wright to thank for virtually all of it, because the first tourists who came through Branson basically were wanting to see Old Matt's cabin, which is the log cabin that's on the property now, and it's the cabin that relates incredibly to the Shepherd of the Hills story. So, the conclusion to all of this, how do I wrap all this up? I just hope that this sparks something in somebody out there somewhere. I hope it hits you, and you make that decision to come on and jump in. If you do have questions, or if you do want to have a chat about your project, if you're looking for, if what's hindering you is, well, I need to ask some questions or something, set up an appointment with me. I don't charge a whole bunch of money. Set up an appointment. Let's have a consultation. Email me. Details are in the blog. They're on my website, and they're down in the description box below. In the meantime, have a great weekend. We're coming up on the weekend here. And check back with me next week. Go to my blog and subscribe so you get notifications. Every Friday you'll get an email with a blog post in it. Unless I miss one every once in a while, but I don't inundate you with stuff. I'm just sharing what I'm seeing and what I'm believing here about writing. I like to make writing fun. So that's the side of it I'm looking at, but at the same time, I can really help you. So have a good time. Thank you so much, and God bless.